How do we build a property portfolio? Is what we're talking about today, the East Central Business Show. I'm John Naylor, joined by Sillano, our resident expert mortgage broker.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What's going on with advice? Are we doing advice today?
Never advice. Thank you. Look at the end. Disclaimer at the end. Yep.
Fabulous. All right. But now, this question is probably born out of the fact that, I've come to believe that you actually love property investing,
I love property. I think it's a terrific, I love it in terms of what it can do for people, in terms of just how a space makes people feel, how it can be used. I love it. Yeah.
Okay. But then in terms of an investment vehicle, you seem to think that obviously it's fairly powerful in that regard, yeah?
So in building a property portfolio, I guess the reason why people would want to do that is because they might want to either pay off their home more quickly, or they might want to build some kind of income that's going to sustain them in their retirement. And I do think that property is a powerful platform to do that with, and particularly from the fact that you can actually leverage it. So you can leverage it to 95%. So that means that you can use someone else's money to buy and control an asset up to the value of 95% of its value.
Okay.
That's tremendously powerful.
So as a type of asset, it's pretty reliable in terms of, or pretty good for leveraging compared to others.
Yeah, in terms of being able to borrow against it, it's definitely something that it's easy to borrow against compared with, say, for example, shares or a business, which is much harder to get money for or leverage it to the same kind of percentage. So say, for example, if you're buying a business and it's an established business, so it's a franchise, a noodle box or something like that, you might be able to get 50% of the value of that business leveraged against it from a bank perspective. For shares, you might get 70% on a margin loan. For if it's your own business that has no franchise arrangement at all, you'll get a big fat donut most of the time. So property is unique in that we can leverage it so highly and use other people's money to do it. And that's really how we build it, is by going for funding each time we want to take a new step or buy a new property.
Those other types of things that are perceived as assets, there's a certain level of risk around margin lending and lending against your business type thing. From both parties' point of view, is it not true?
Well, that's...
From the bank, they go, oh...
That's why they don't give you as much.
Okay.
So yeah, whether it meets your overall goals, you probably need to talk to a financial planner about that. But in terms of the leverageability of different asset classes, property is really accessible to a lot of people, and that's why I like it.
Okay. So we hear a lot about people talking about like 10 properties in 10 years or 10 properties in 7 years or something like that. Is there any reality, you think, about this? It's not 2004 anymore. No. Last time I checked. So, but is there reality around this, that these people are talking about these sorts of models?
Okay, not for everyone. I think that to do 10 properties in 10 years, you'd really need to be very, very disciplined in your approach with it, and it would need to be something that you were very much focused on. Every single time that you buy a property, you go through an application process for funding. Okay, so that means that most people aren't going to have the cash to buy the property. Like, they're not going to have just cash sitting there to go and buy a property and then buy 10 of them in 10 years. So if you're needing to leverage and use the bank's money to assist you in building your portfolio, what that means is that they are a key partner in your strategy, and you need to be loan ready so that you can actually take that next step. And that means that your expenses need to be where they need to be for the application, that your income needs to be up there and sustainable, that the rental yield needs to be, needs to support the application. It's really about the bank funding that will enable you to acquire that asset, and then hopefully the asset does what it's supposed to do for you and goes up in value.
So on the basis that you've obviously got to be very committed and very organised.
Yeah, to do that. To do one a year would be a lot. You can, but you need to be committed and you need to be organised.
It sounds like you're going to spend more time eating 2-minute noodles than Uber Eats by the sound of it too.
Probably. For most people, they would they would need to be very diligent in meeting their goals on that one.
Yeah, and when you meet people like that, it's always amazing because you do find that they've definitely got a mindset that's very, very structured.
Very focused.
Very focused on property portfolios. And it's inspiring whenever I come across that. I try and get it to rub off of me. I'm not so successful so far. But anyway, there is obviously that need around the property they're acquiring to have a very good business model, you know, in terms of its room for capital growth, it's the rent return, and its opportunity for it to have a capital growth and a rent growth. Obviously, is the gold ticket, that's the gold class.
Yeah, those are the things that you'd probably be looking for in that property, and that's where you might engage with a buyer's agent or something like that, or work with your financial planner to ascertain whether the property is likely to achieve the objectives that you're setting for it. In terms of the funding's really quite simple. It's an application.
Yeah. And if you get it wrong, obviously it can all come tumbling down as well.
Yeah, property doesn't always go up in value.
Yeah, it's not 2004 like we've already said. But there is that concern, and I've seen people I'm aware of, you know, that have got into that winning streak type mentality where obviously they acquire one property and second and third, and then eventually something, you know, they just put 1 foot wrong and it can come unstuck, So you've got to be really diligent.
That's probably, I think that's why we've got such rigorous rules at the moment around the responsible lending as well, is to make sure that people are to make sure that the funding aligns with a strategy that is a longer term proposition than simply speculative. Yeah. So,
Yeah, and if the bank says no, then there's a reason for that. You probably should respect it by the sound of it.
Depends on the reason for the no. Okay, we're going down a rabbit warren here.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's use that as a segue to say, look, if investing and creating a portfolio of property is a good thing, then obviously you need to have a detailed conversation with someone like Laura Sillano from Pod Financial. How do they do that, Laura? Okay,
you can call me on mobile at 0422 320 497, or also email through to the office, home@podfinancial.com.au.
Okay, that's another great conversation with Laura Sillano, our resident expert in rabbit warrens and property investing. No, not so much property investment, definitely mortgage lending. And anyway, we'll speak to you next time on the East Central Business Show. Thanks for your time.